May 14, 2012, 3:47 p.m., Monrovia, Liberia. The heat hangs thick over the Hotel Bella Casa, humidity pressing down like wet concrete. Paul Calder Roux sits at a table with men he believes are narcotics buyers. High-level Colombian connect. Big money deal, the kind of score that keeps an empire running. Except the Colombians across from him work for the DEA. The agents move fast. Cuffs click. Roux does not resist. No gunfight, no chase, no dramatic final stand. Just a programmer from Rhodesia who built a billion-dollar criminal enterprise from behind a keyboard, finally caught in the oldest trap there is, trust. He was the first man to weaponize encryption and globalization into a business model that sold everything. Painkillers to soccer moms in Ohio, methamphetamine to Australian distributors, missile guidance systems to Iran, contract killings in the Philippines, all managed remotely from five-star hotels while law enforcement spent years trying to figure out who he even was. This is that story. Bulawayo, Rhodesia, late 1970s. The Bush War is grinding the country into dust. White minority rule is collapsing. Black liberation armies are pushing in. Violence everywhere. This is where Paul Calder Roux enters the world. Born December 24, 1972, his biological mother gives him up. A white Rhodesian couple adopts him. The family leaves before the transition to Zimbabwe, relocating to South Africa during apartheid's final ugly years. Roux grows up in Krugersdorp, a mining town west of Johannesburg. Not wealthy, not connected, just another white kid in a country coming apart at the seams. But the kid has a mind. Sharp, obsessive, self-taught, no university degree, no formal computer science training, just a brain that sees systems and patterns where others see chaos. By the mid-1990s, Roux is writing code, encryption software, the kind of programs that let people hide information from governments, corporations, anyone watching. He contributes to E4M, encryption for the masses, open source disk encryption. Privacy activists love it. The work is clean, technical, revolutionary in some circles. It establishes him as a credible programmer who understands cryptography and secrecy at a level most people never reach. In another timeline, he becomes a cybersecurity consultant, makes decent money, lives clean. But Roux isn't wired for decent. He sees the internet exploding in the late 1990s. He sees regulatory gaps, weak enforcement, borders that mean nothing when your infrastructure is digital, and he sees an opportunity that has nothing to do with privacy or freedom. He sees a cash printer disguised as a pharmacy. 1999 and the early 2000s. The online prescription drug boom, RX Limited. That is the name of the empire Roux builds. Not a cartel, not a gang, a company. Websites designed to look legitimate. Call centers staffed with polite employees. Medical questionnaires that route to compliant doctors who ask no real questions. Pharmacies that ship pills to anyone with a credit card. The product is legal, sort of. Painkillers, anxiety medication, weight loss pills. Controlled substances that require prescriptions, but the prescriptions are rubber stamps. The doctors are paid per approval. The whole system is engineered to look legitimate while functioning as an industrial-scale pill mill. And it works. Revenue floods in. Millions every month. Roux isn't selling on street corners. He is selling to middle-class Americans who want Vicodin without seeing a doctor. Suburban moms ordering diet pills. Office workers buying Xanax online. The customer base is massive. The profit margins are obscene. No violence, no territory, no gang wars, just code, infrastructure, and a business model that exploits the gap between legality and enforcement. By 2004, Roux is operating call centers in the Philippines and Israel. Customer service representatives process orders. Doctors in the United States sign off on prescriptions they never really evaluate. Pharmacies ship product. Payment processors move money. The whole operation is compartmentalized. Nobody sees the full picture except Roux. Roux is a ghost. He uses encrypted communications and operates through shell companies registered in jurisdictions that do not cooperate with American law enforcement. He pays employees well enough to keep them loyal, and he fires anyone who asks too many questions. The organizational model is brilliant. Decentralized but controlled, remote but disciplined. He runs a global operation from laptops in hotel rooms, changing locations constantly, never staying visible long enough to become a target. In the corporate world, they would call him a visionary. In the underworld, they call him untouchable. But the prescription drug business has a ceiling. Regulatory pressure increases. The DEA starts shutting down pill mills. Payment processors get nervous. Banks start blocking transactions. By 2007, the easy money is tightening up. Roux could have walked away, taken his millions, disappeared into a quiet life somewhere with no extradition. Instead, he pivots, not into something safer, into something darker. He starts moving methamphetamine, then cocaine, then weapons. The same infrastructure he built for online pharmacies, the same encrypted communications, the same compartmentalized crews, the same global network. He repurposes all of it for narcotics trafficking and arms dealing. The jump from prescription pills to meth is not a small step. It is a different universe, different suppliers, different customers, different consequences. But Roux approaches it the same way he approached E4M, as a systems problem. He needs suppliers in Asia and South America. He needs distribution networks in Australia and the United States. He needs logistics that move product across borders without detection. And he needs enforcers to make sure nobody steals from him or cooperates with police. So he builds it piece by piece, contact by contact, like assembling code. In 2008, Roux is no longer just a pill guy. He is trafficking methamphetamine from North Korea and China into Australia, multi-kilo shipments. The Australian market is hungry. Prices are high. Profit margins are staggering. He sets up a system, suppliers in Asia, shipping routes through the Pacific, distributors in Sydney and Melbourne, couriers moving cash back to collection points. The whole network controlled remotely through encrypted emails and phone calls. Roux never touches the product, never meets the customers, never even enters Australia, but the money flows back to him like a river. At the same time, he is moving cocaine, sourcing from South America, and routing shipments through West Africa. Liberia becomes a key node with corrupt officials and weak enforcement, a government willing to look the other way for the right price. Roux establishes a presence there, uses local contacts, pays off the right people, and turns Monrovia into a transshipment hub for cocaine heading to Europe and the United States. Then there's the arms dealing, not small-time guns, but military-grade hardware, night vision equipment, and missile guidance technology. Roux is brokering deals to sell controlled technology to Iran and other buyers who should not have access. He treats it like any other commodity. Find a buyer, find a supplier, negotiate the price, arrange the logistics, collect the fee. No ideology, no politics, just profit. But here's where Roux shows his real genius, or his real madness. He does not just run a criminal enterprise, he builds a hybrid organization that looks like a legitimate business while functioning as a global trafficking network. He establishes a shipping company, a timber business in the Philippines, and real estate holdings. All of it creates cover. Employees who think they work for legitimate companies are actually moving money or product without realizing it. The compartmentalization is total. A call center worker in Manila has no idea the company she works for is trafficking methamphetamine. A timber employee in the Philippines has no idea his boss is brokering arms deals. A shipping agent has no idea the cargo he is moving contains cocaine. Roux controls the information, controls the money, controls everything. And he does it all remotely, living in hotels and changing locations every few weeks. The ghost CEO. But empires need enforcement, especially when they are built on crime, and enforcement means violence. Roux understands this not as a hothead, not as a gangster, as a businessman. Theft is a business problem. Informants are a business problem. Competitors are a business problem. And business problems require solutions, permanent ones. Enter Joseph Hunter. Hunter is a former United States Army sniper. He served in multiple deployments. He left the military and drifted into private security work, then into darker waters. By 2008, Hunter is working for Roux as the head of security. But security does not mean bodyguards and surveillance. It means enforcement. It means targeted killings. Hunter recruits a crew, other military veterans, guys with training, guys who know how to handle weapons, guys who are comfortable with violence but professional about it. Not street thugs, not cartel sicarios, contractors, mercenaries, operators. Roux tasks them with problem solving, a debtor who refuses to pay, a business partner who steals product, a witness who might cooperate with police. Hunter and his crew handle it, clinical, professional, no emotion, just execution. 2012, the Philippines. Catherine Lee is a real estate agent, legitimate, no criminal record, no involvement in the drug trade. She is handling a property deal that intersects with Roux's business interests. Details are murky. Maybe she is involved in a transaction Roux wants to control. Maybe she knows something she should not. Maybe it is just a dispute over money or property. Whatever the reason, Roux decides she is a problem. He orders her killed. Hunter organizes the hit. The crew tracks her movements, plans the strike, and executes it. Catherine Lee is shot multiple times and killed in a manner that investigators later describe as professional, methodical, not a random act of violence, a targeted assassination. Her body is found. The investigation begins. Philippine authorities start looking into her murder, and that investigation eventually connects back to Roux's organization because Roux made a miscalculation. He thought he could order a murder on foreign soil and insulate himself from the consequences. He thought compartmentalization and distance would protect him. He was wrong. The Catherine Lee case is not the only murder tied to Roux's organization. Federal investigators later identify multiple other killings, associates who disappeared, competitors who turned up dead, a pattern of violence used as a management tool. But the Lee case is different because it involves a civilian, because the Philippine government takes it seriously, because it creates a paper trail that leads back to Hunter, and Hunter leads back to Roux. The walls are closing in, but Roux does not see it yet. He is still operating at full speed, still moving weight, still brokering arms deals, still ordering hits, still convinced that his system is bulletproof. Then the DEA sets the trap. Late 2011 into 2012, the Drug Enforcement Administration has been tracking Roux for years. They know he exists. They know he is moving narcotics, but they cannot find him. He is too mobile, too careful, too insulated. So they do what law enforcement does when they cannot catch someone. They build a case from the outside in. They flip his employees, low-level workers who get arrested and face serious time. Suddenly cooperative, these workers offer information about their boss, the ghost. Investigators start mapping the organization, identifying key players, tracking communications, and building a profile. And they realize something. Roux is greedy. He cannot resist a big deal, so they dangle one. The setup is classic. DEA agents posing as Colombian narcotics traffickers make contact through intermediaries. They express interest in moving serious weight, cocaine, multi-ton shipments, the kind of deal that generates millions in profit. Roux takes the bait. He agrees to a meeting face-to-face in Monrovia, Liberia, September 2012. Roux flies into Liberia, believing he is about to finalize a major cocaine transaction. He meets with the supposed Colombians at the Hotel Bella Casa. They talk numbers, routes, payment. Everything seems legitimate. Then the DEA moves. Agents identify themselves. Roux is placed under arrest. No gunfire, no escape attempt, no dramatic standoff, just a man realizing too late that he walked into a trap. The genius who built an empire on outsmarting systems got outsmarted. The arrest is kept quiet initially. Roux is transferred into federal custody, transported to the United States, and held without bail. He cooperates, not reluctantly, not after months of legal wrangling, quickly, actively, completely. Roux starts talking, and what he says changes everything. 2012 into 2013. Roux is debriefed by federal agents. He provides detailed information about his organization, names, locations, methods, financial structures, trafficking routes. He identifies his employees, his suppliers, his enforcers. He gives up Joseph Hunter. He gives up the murder for hire crew. He gives up everything. Hunter gets arrested in Thailand in 2013 and is extradited to the United States. He is charged with conspiracy to commit murder and conspiracy to import cocaine, among multiple counts. He goes to trial, gets convicted, and is sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Other members of the organization are rolled up, arrested, and prosecuted. The empire Roux built gets dismantled piece by piece. And the whole time, Roux is the government's star witness, testifying in sealed proceedings, providing evidence, and helping prosecutors build cases. The man who built a billion-dollar criminal enterprise becomes an informant, a snitch, the ultimate betrayal in the underworld. But it works. His cooperation is substantial enough that when sentencing finally comes, the government recommends a reduction. June 12, 2020, United States District Court, Southern District of New York. Roux stands before a judge. He has already pleaded guilty to conspiracy to engage in racketeer influence, corrupt organization activities, conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine and cocaine, and conspiracy to commit murder. He faces multiple counts and decades of criminal conduct. The government acknowledges his cooperation, calling it extensive and valuable. It says he provided critical intelligence that led to the prosecution of numerous other defendants. The defense argues for leniency, pointing to his assistance, to the fact that he has been in custody since 2012, and to his lack of prior criminal history before the enterprise. The judge listens, then delivers the sentence: 25 years in federal prison with credit for time served since 2012. With good behavior, he will likely serve around 20 years in total. The sentence is for building a global trafficking and murder for hire network, for ordering multiple killings, and for moving tons of narcotics across continents. 25 years. Some call it justice. Others call it a sweetheart deal for a cooperating witness. But the numbers do not lie. The cooperation bought him his life. Without it, he dies in prison. With it, he might see daylight again in his 60s. The Roux case became a template. Law enforcement studies it, learns from it, and uses it to understand how modern criminal enterprises operate in the digital age. Roux was not a traditional kingpin. He did not control territory. He did not run a street gang. He did not build a cartel through family ties and violence. He built a corporation, distributed, remote, digital. He weaponized technology and globalization. He turned encryption into a business advantage. He turned weak regulatory enforcement into profit. He turned geographic distance into insulation. He almost got away with it. Almost. But the same systems that protected him also created vulnerabilities. Employees could be flipped, communications could be intercepted, financial transactions could be traced. The digital footprint he thought he erased was still there, faint but traceable. Once law enforcement figured out how to follow it, the whole structure collapsed. Today, Paul Roux sits in a federal prison, location undisclosed, no interviews, no public statements. The man who once controlled a billion-dollar empire now lives in a cell. The programmer who built encryption software to protect privacy now relies on the government to protect him from the people he betrayed. Joseph Hunter is serving 20 years. Other members of the organization are dead or imprisoned. The network is gone. The money was seized or remains hidden. The empire is erased. Catherine Lee's family still grieves. Her murder remains a scar on the Philippine legal system. The thousands of people who became addicted to the pills Roux sold online are still struggling. The communities flooded with the meth he trafficked are still recovering. The damage is real, permanent. No amount of cooperation erases it. Roux's story is not a success story. It is a warning, a demonstration of how intelligence without conscience becomes destruction, how systems thinking applied to crime creates unprecedented scale, how distance does not equal safety. The man who thought he could run an empire from behind a screen learned the same lesson every kingpin learns. The game always ends. The only question is when and how much damage you cause before it does. He built tools for privacy, and he used them for crime. He created jobs, and he used them as cover for trafficking. He made billions, and he lost everything. He was the first man to turn encryption into a criminal business model. The only kingpin to run a global empire entirely remotely. The programmer who became a cartel. 25 years in federal prison. Multiple murders ordered. Billions in narcotics moved. That is how empires end.